Have you ever said to yourself, I'm too old to learn that? Or it is too late for me to do that? Well, hopefully this video will help you change your mind. Hi, I am Pixel Pia. I am a teacher and a lifelong learner. And learning is something I do constantly. It's like a part of my soul. But with age, things have changed. It has getting a little harder to learn new things. And I have to adjust how I learn. And today I want to share with you my experience and give you my top 5 tips on how you can improve your learning as an adult learner. But before we get to that, let's get some definitions straight so we know we are talking about the same thing. When I use the word adult learner, I talk about anybody who didn't continue right to college after high school, who took a year or a couple of years off, maybe started a family and got a job. The adult learner is anywhere between early 20s and up. I, for example, am 62. And when I talk about learning, I mean all kinds of learning. I'm talking about going back to college, or maybe taking a course in photography, or maybe learning something by yourself. But I'm talking about intentional learning, something you decide to learn. Learning goes on all the time. But in this video, I am talking about intentional learning. So, as adult learners, we have some obstacle we have to get around. And the first one that comes to mind is time. As an adult learner, you probably have a lot of obligations. Maybe you have a full-time job. Maybe you have a family you need to spend time with and friends you need to entertain. And maybe you even have other weekly assignments like coaching your kids' football team or going to a book club. So time is one of the obstacles. Another one is self-doubt. Like the statements I gave in the beginning of this video. When I moved to the US from Sweden, I had to decide if I was gonna go back to college to get a second teacher's degree so I could teach here in the US. And I was very doubtful. I was, I think, 45 when I started this. And I said to myself many times, is it too late to start a new college education? But it's never too late. I did it. It is not easy to overcome the self-doubt. But try to tell yourself that you are worthy, that you deserve to give it a try. And maybe if you start small. Then we have neuroplasticity. That's a big word. But what it is about is the brain's capability to make new neuropaths and connections when we try to learn something new. Unfortunately, the brain's plasticity gets weaker as we grow older. This is one of the reasons why it takes longer time to learn something new as we get older. There are ways to tackle the less plasticity brain. And I will return to the topic of neuroplasticity in a later video where I talk more about adult learning theory and adult learning styles. Another problem could be money, especially if you decide to go back to college. Not just that you have to pay the money, but also that as an adult with a family, you have to convince yourself that you are worthy of spending this money on yourself. But if a college degree isn't in your plans, there are a lot of free courses, both college courses and other courses online. Those were some of the obstacles we can run into as adult learners. But there are advantages as well. One is that you probably by now know yourself very well and you know what you want to accomplish. Another advantage is that you have plenty of experiences that you can connect the new information to. You probably have a very clear purpose of what you want to learn and why. And with that purpose comes what we call learning readiness. You are driven by your internal motivation. And last but not least, life has probably by now taught you that making a mistake is not the end of the world. Making a mistake can be a very good teacher. So what are my top 5 tips for adult learners? Tip number 1, and maybe the most important, is to set goals, achievable, measurable goals. And one method to do this is called SMART. SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-based. But that's just one method. And I have actually made a video about setting goals when it comes to personal growth. But the methods I'm talking about there can be used as well when it comes to learning goals. So I will link that up in the eye. Tip number 2, try many different ways to learn. You can read, you can listen to audiobooks, you can watch videos, and you can do. The more methods you use for input, the easier it is for your brain to use these connections. Tip number 3, start small, and maybe with something that's fun, especially if you have been away from intentional learning for a longer period of time. You need to get yourself into the habit of learning, which leads to tip number 4, learn something new every day. This is the easiest way to get into the habit of learning. Give yourself 15-20 minutes each day to learn something new. That can be a new word in a foreign language or a new crocheting pattern. It doesn't really matter what you learn each day in the beginning. This is a method to get yourself into the habit of learning. And 15 minutes a day can be enough to start. And tip number 5, never give up. Take small steps and think of them as you learning how you learn best. And even mistakes is learning. You learn what doesn't work for you. My biggest learning project right now is this. As a birthday gift to myself when I turned 60, I decided to learn how to film and edit videos. And to have something to do with my videos, I decided to start a YouTube channel. I must confess that today it takes me much longer to learn something new, and the mistakes are more than they used to be. But gosh, how much fun I have. And not only that, this YouTube channel has connected me with friends all over the world. And what it also have given me is a possibility to share what is important to me, to learn about learning, and to inspire people to keep on learning. I hope you got some inspiration from this video. And if you did, please leave a comment down below and let me know. And remember, never stop learning.